This is Mhm. So it's afternoon, I guess, for you, right?
It's 11 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, close
Oh,
to the afternoon.
hmm. It's just close to the afternoon. Yeah. Perfect, perfect. So, and as usual, today we'll be talking about it's a great topic, and uh, we'll same way we'll start with the intro, then we'll come up with the discussions around the topic, and yeah, that's it.
Sounds good. And I have everything ready, poetry, guitar.
Perfect, lovely.
All
And
right.
also I'll just request like so yesterday what happened, I guess the mic was bit far from the guitar, uh so when I was editing it, somehow it was getting bit low, so yeah.
You didn't hear the guitar as much as you heard the voice. That
Hmm.
was my mistake because there's something that says original sound for musicians. And if I don't
Oh,
turn it on, the
hmm.
guitar gets muted. So I'm pretty sure that that was my bad and that now I'm putting it on and it won't happen again.
Perfect, lovely. But I really love those, it's melodies, yeah, definitely lovely.
Mhm.
Great. So we'll start. Audio is fine. This is Grail Cam. This is fine. Yeah. Great. Great. So we're good to start. Hey everyone, welcome to Mind Over Matter. I'm your host Avik, and today's episode promises to be as enlightening as entertaining. So, we are diving into a magical blend of humor, spirituality, personal growth with none other than Scott Grace. So, welcome to the show, Scott.
Thank you. I am honored and excited to be here, Avik.
Lovely, lovely. I really love talking to you, and I mean, you just make it happen, everything. But before we delve deep into this today's topic, dear listeners, I'll quickly love to introduce you with Scott. So, Scott is the man, the myth, and the spiritual Dr. Seuss. So, he is a troubadour of transformation, a poet, comedian, a singer, songwriter, and the best-selling author. You name it, he is. So he's shared stages with. Can you guess like with whom he shared the stages?
It's
Okay, I'll
probably
tell you.
less time consuming to tell people who I haven't shared the stage with. But you go
Exactly.
ahead. Do your best.
Exactly. So I'll name few. So he shared stages with the legends like Deepak Chopra, Lousy Hay, and even Robin Williams. Can you imagine? Yes. So known for his unique ability to bring laughter, lightness to life's profound questions. He helps us tickle, tame, and transcend the inner critic while exploring the emotional intelligence, positive thinking, and the ever uh, enigmatic law of attraction. So grab your
Yes.
favorite tea, coffee, or any beverage, settle in, and get ready to challenge your beliefs.
And
Embrace your inner quirks and
yes,
expand.
and tell us what you're drinking in the chat room. We'd love to know if it's
Exactly.
chai, what you're sweetening it with. Very important to us.
Exactly. And expand your mind with one and only Scott's delightful wisdom. So, welcome to the show, Scott.
Very good. I'm here. I love your introduction. Your enthusiasm ignites mine. Now I want to give my best. Don't want to let
I
people
really
down.
love
After that introduction, my goodness. Let's do it. So
Lovely,
I
great.
noticed the show's name is Mind Over Matter,
Yeah.
and I don't mind, and it really doesn't matter. That's all I have to
Wow.
say.
Yeah, exactly.
But I
Yeah,
assume
exactly.
that you're exploring just how far we can go when our thoughts are intentional, when our mental powers are focused on something we want and
Definitely.
not focused on what we're worried about happening or what we're afraid is going to happen or what we're fearing might happen. When we actually learn to focus our attention on what we actually want to create, wow, is the sky even the limit?
Exactly. Exactly. Lovely.
Mm,
I'll I'll uh I'll come to you like you have charmed the audiences worldwide with your playful take on the spirituality. And so I mean if you can share like with your thoughts of law of attraction, is it really as simple as think good thoughts and good things will come? So, what do you say?
I don't necessarily see it that way because there are a lot of people in the world who think
Mm,
very negatively and very randomly who end up getting a lot of what they want. And there are a lot of people who think beautiful, positive thoughts who end up with cancer and root canal and all kinds of things. So no, I don't think we can guarantee because as much as the mind can be creative and influential with our creations, I think we create mostly at a soul level. A soul level is where your highest good, what you're here to learn, the challenges that are going to help you find your gifts and your inner strength, those challenges are on their way to you no matter what you think. And
mm,
that's what I mean by, we mostly create from a soul level where our soul knows what our highest good is. And we can't really escape that by manipulating reality by thinking a certain way. However, it is true that the more positive you think, the more joyful you are. And generally speaking, yeah, good things can happen. I remember when I was first like introduced to the idea of thinking intentionally and what could happen if you use affirmations and visualizations to attract what you want. I was 18 years old and I decided to put it to the test.
okay.
And I wrote down in my notebook in the morning, maybe 15, 20 times, I am a money magnet. Wonderful
Mm,
financial surprises are coming to me now. And I wrote that in the morning and I wrote it before I went to bed. And I actually visualized a magnet in my forehead attracting financial delights to me. I'm like, let's test this stuff out. Let's really test it where it counts. Show me the money, I said to the universe. And I was living in New York at the time, and I was taking buses and trains. And so I think it was 2 or 3 days. I walked onto a bus, and I sat
mm,
down in an empty chair, and I looked down, and I saw that there was a $5 bill and $5 US. At the time, I had lived 18 years. I had found quarters, occasionally a dollar, but never a $5. So I thought, oh, that's interesting. I put it in my pocket. The next day, and I continued the affirmations, getting a little more excited about it. The next day, I walked onto a subway car and I
okay.
had the car to myself. I sat down, and guess what was next to me? I looked to the right, and on the just right on next to my right foot was a
Mm.
loose $5 bill.
No.
And so I claimed it, put it in my pocket, And then I started to feel afraid. I started to get scared, like, oh my God, this is really happening. And I put down the
Mhm.
affirmations. I put down the affirmations. I stopped thinking this way. I didn't know why, but upon hindsight, I can say that it scared me so much to think that my thoughts were creating my reality, and to fully accept it and go with it would have meant that I was ready to let go of feeling like a victim, blaming God, blaming my parents, and being angry at the world for giving me a bad deal. I was too invested in my victim consciousness to let those experiences shake me and wake me up from victimhood. It was years later that I started to think again that I do have the power and that I'm ready to use it. I'm ready to think in harmony with the universe and use my mind to create what I want.
Okay, that's great. That's really, really great, I'd say. Yeah. And also like when you're talking about it as like uh what about when life throws the curveballs? Like we can truly attract challenges, or is there a deeper interplay at work there?
What, like, is there some kind of rhyme or reason uh,
Kind of, I
when?
mean, when there are a lot of challenges, then how we
Mhm.
truly face this. I mean, anything you can share on this.
Well, it takes a lot of growth and maturity to give up taking things personally. So most of us have been raised in some kind of religious,
Mm.
cultural upbringing in which things are seen as rewards or punishment. And that's
Yeah.
all taking things very personally. And so when something unpleasant happens, the first
Mm.
reaction might be, what's wrong with me? Or maybe what's wrong with God? Something God is withholding from me. God damn you, God. Or whose fault is this? I'm being punished. Whose fault? It must be my fault. So that kind of thinking has to grow up. It's not personal. It's not always about your thoughts.
Mhm.
And as I said before, like all everything that we draw to us, whether it be challenging, and by the way, success can
Mm.
be very challenging. Meeting the love of your life can be extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Winning the lottery can be challenging as hell. These massive changes towards the better bring with them the need to mature and grow up, and in all kinds of ways. So there's no such thing as a positive experience without its shadow, and there's no such thing as a challenge without its gold. That's why nothing is just pure positive or pure negative. So I would say a better question when you draw something painful to you
Mhm.
than how did I attract this is how can I learn from this? How can I grow
Mm.
into a more compassionate, more patient, wiser human being? And you don't even have to have an answer to that question. Once you ask it, you're out of the victim consciousness.
Yeah.
But it's much more important to learn how to accept what comes what comes to you and work with it as a gift than it
Mm.
is to create only good positive experiences. If you only created good positive experiences, you would not grow as a human being. You wouldn't become more compassionate, and you probably isolate in your ivory tower of superiority and miss out on the lessons of the heart, which very often come to us through disappointment and heartache.
Exactly. Exactly. So some people argue that toxic positivity and denying the negative emotions, so which can be a part of byproduct of like overemphasizing the positive thinking. So
Yes.
how do we avoid that trap while staying emotionally intelligent?
Well, by focusing on, I accept that I'm disappointed in this moment. This too shall pass. I accept that I'm angry in this moment. This too shall pass. I accept
Mm,
that I'm annoyed. I understand that I'm impatient and I'm pushing to try to get what I want.
yeah.
And this too shall pass. To really acknowledge all of our emotions without trying to make them change.
Mm,
That is when you say that there's toxic positivity,
mm,
I would say it's because we're afraid of feeling our pain. And when you build positive thoughts from the foundation of fear, afraid of your shadow, afraid of pain, afraid of hurt, then no matter what positive thoughts you're thinking, they're built on a foundation of fear, of trying to avoid the darker side of life. And so, first of all, the positive thoughts aren't going to really be effective
yeah.
when you're using them to avoid something. And second of all, you're in denial, and people just aren't going to be all that trusting of you because there's nothing authentic going on about you.
Mm,
You're a walking, talking box of affirmations, and people can smell the bullshit a mile away.
lovely, I guess. That's
You don't have to say lovely, Avik.
mm, yeah.
But it's a truth. It's something to explore, to find the balance
Mm,
between positive thinking and accepting just whatever you want to call it, the challenges that come along the way in everybody's life.
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
So
And
I I would just want to make sure there's time for the Dr. Seuss because he's going to be on the loose. He's got to come out, and we only have 10 more minutes. So just
yeah.
warning you that Dr. Seuss is on the loose.
Please, so I'll welcome Dr. Seuss.
Do you do you have in India? Are people aware of Dr. Seuss?
Not much, but
Not
yes,
much.
but I'll definitely explain it into the show notes so that whosoever
Yes, yeah.
wants to.
So most Americans grew up when we were children. We were read Dr. Seuss, this rhyming, playful
Mm,
author. All the children's books, Green
yeah.
Eggs and Ham, and a lot of movies were based on his books.
Mm,
Now, when my daughter was 2 years old, I started to but I would end tucking her in at night and by reading her a Dr. Seuss story. And one night I couldn't get the way he rhymed out of my head. It just kept going on and on. So I
mm,
went to my computer and I started writing. And for 6 years, I kept channeling these poems as if Dr. Seuss was on a spiritual path and was rhyming to adults. So this is called Dr. Seuss's reaction to the law of attraction. Have you heard of The Secret? Well, it's my turn to leak it. The law of attraction? Well, lights, camera, action. Ask and it's given, it says in the Bible. But if you're like me, then you're really quite liable to ask in a way that is more like complaining. Not like, let there be sun, more like, make it stop raining. And when you are focused on what you don't want, the universe has no choice but to respond by delivering more of what you're focused on. It can drive you to web surf at hopeless.com. Then along comes a poet, a teacher, a song that helps you to get you've been asking all wrong. Let's say you want love, more cash, or a smartphone. The way to get more is to get in the heart zone. The heart zone's where you're receptive and calm. It's where you're tuned in, tapped in, and turned on. You get in the zone through prayer and meditation. Then open your eyes and spread good vibrations. Then manifestations, watch how they come. Like potato chips, you can't have just one. So let's get relief from beliefs that are making you paddle upstream till your muscles are aching, paddling madly in your quest for more ease. It's a clear case of classic mad paddler's disease. Let go of the oars, you hear somebody say. By the sweat of thy brow causes endless ivy.
Lovely. That's awesome.
I'm not done yet. I just had to
Oh,
refer to the book. The current, it moves towards your wildest dreams, and nothing you want is awaiting upstream. Let's say you have nest eggs you'd love to be hatched. Your job's to become a vibrational match, to know in your heart that you deeply deserve it, that the whole universe is just itching to serve it, to know what you're drawn to is drawn to you too, just as sure as God bless you comes after a chew. Now, some find this all too materialistic, too Pollyanna, not realistic. They might call you selfish as you're getting bolder, but selfish, wish them the best and keep on being selfish with a higher self S. Not a selfish that's driven by greed or by fear, but a selfish that's elfish and perfectly clear that the best way to help people out of their cages is to know that you're one with a God that's outrageous. Your natural high will be highly contagious. Serve the world by example, it's most advantageous. As you practice these teachings and make some advances, you'll stop being driven by your circumstances. The road will have bumps, but you're behind the wheel now, and you've got power steering to steer how you feel now. No longer a happiness procrastinator. It's official. You're now a conscious co-creator, consciously choosing more limitless thoughts, tossing out all your shoulds and your have-tos and oughts. It's a And whether or not your prayers bear fruit, you're so tuned into love, you don't give a big hoot. It's a thrill to be tuned in, tapped in, and turned on, enjoying it all at its allgood.com. Hanging out in the heart zone, you like it a lot there, but don't get hung up on the ways that you got there. Whether 12 steps or Christ or a Buddhist retreat, all paths lead us up to the same mountain peak. And the top of the mountain does not really care which teacher or method helped you get up there. And when you're on top, it's time to slide down, to bring your good cheer to the folks on the ground. Not that you'll be on a serious mission. The world's had enough missionary positions. Your mission's to
wow. I have to say, wow. It's mind-boggling, I would say. Definitely. Definitely. It's
this has to
lovely.
boggle for this to open. I love boggle in the mind so that we can meet in the heart, Avik, which you and I do
Exactly.
beautifully.
Exactly. Exactly. Lovely. So great. So with this, Scott, thank you for sharing your wisdom, wit, and uh, whimsical way of looking at the world. So I feel definitely lighter already. As always, whenever I meet, I talk to you, I really feel lighter, and happiness definitely comes naturally. So thank you
Mhm.
so much for this, and also for the listeners. Let's take Scott's challenge to the heart, whether it's tackling your inner critic, or maybe exploring the intersections of creativity and spirituality, or maybe simply uh, smiling a little more today, like I mentioned.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and always remember
Hmm.
that life is not only about overcoming things or keep on overcoming things like this. So it's all about becoming the best, or try to become the best, at least the brightest and most authentic version of yourselves. So
Hmm.
with this, definitely I'd love to mention, like, if this episode has sparked something in you, share it with your friends, family, or someone who actually need to listen to this, and definitely
Hmm.
share a review to us, because your review will help us understand and bring you more uh, discussions like this. So until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep choosing mind over matter. So thank you so much.